In the classroom, classroom management is the most important thing.
Why is it so important?
I'm glad you asked, Robin. Without effective classroom management, all that fancy stuff we learn in college is for nothing. You know, that scaffolding that we get and all that collaboration talk we have. None of it's going to work unless you have effective classroom management. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 things. First thing is I'm going to convince you why you should spend 90% of your energy, your effort on classroom management. Secondly, I'm going to convince you why you can have the classroom of your dreams. And the last thing, at the end of the video, I'm going to give you a chance and I'm going to talk to you about my free course on classroom management so you have something you can actually apply to your classroom. As teachers, we have a million things going on in our classroom. But if we get a chance to take a step back and at the end of the day, just kind of analyze how that day went, what you're going to find is that if you are drained and worn out, the thing that sucks the most energy out of us is classroom behavior problems. Now, if you don't feel that way, I celebrate you and you should rejoice because you are in a unique spot. But for 99% of, and for myself, I've been doing this 20 years, man, there are days I still go home and I can't believe the things students did. Why did they do those things? So trust me, you're not alone if you're feeling the same way. And a personal pet peeve of mine at my school right now, we have the administration, we have the district bring upon certain ideas such as Wicker. I'm not sure if you know what that is. We're talking about collaboration, student talk. And don't get me wrong, those things are all good and great and dandy. But the reality is about half of our teachers that we have here on campus are new. And they're not necessarily too worried about the curriculum at this point. They're just worried about surviving the day-to-day behaviors in the classroom. So that is what we need to focus on as a school. And that is what you need to focus on in your classroom if you're still having a little bit issue with students. Now, I'm not saying those things are bad and not to try to implement some of that stuff. But if classroom management is a struggle, you're biting off more than you can chew by trying to incorporate all those new ideas and concepts into your classroom. Be laser focused on the classroom management. Once that is done, then you can move on to other items. So what does that look like in your classroom? It looks this way. And so come to school on Monday or whenever you go back to school. Don't worry if Johnny's doing his work or not. I mean, we eventually want to get to that spot where he's doing his work, but don't worry about that. What you want to focus on is make sure Johnny's not walking around the classroom poking people with a pencil. If Susie's not reaching the levels of reading that you want her to, I mean, that's something we're eventually going to work on. But the focus should be in making sure she's not disrupting other students to take away from their learning. And if you're concerned with Tommy having an F in your class, let that go. Let that go and instead focus on why is Tommy always pushing people and cursing in class. Those are the items you want to focus on. So once again, we'll get to the other stuff. You'll eventually get to the other stuff, but you got to take care of that behavior stuff first. If you are a new teacher, chances are things probably feel so overwhelming. You probably feel like you can't get a grasp on things and you're gasping for air every single day. Just so you know, you're not alone in this. And even some of us older teachers, right? We feel the same way many times. But I want to give you some, I'm not sure what to call it, some statistics, but then also my personal testimony, just to hopefully get you the right framework. You can have the classroom of your dreams, but it may take some time. So my plea to you is this: do not give up too soon. Do not. You're gonna have to put some hard years in before you finally get your footing on the ground. So here are some statistics, and man, these, I'm not sure if these are scary or these are good, depends how you look at it. But the statistic goes like this: that 44% of people who get into the education field, 44%, will never make it to year 5. They will quit before year 5. That I'm gonna round it up. So that means half of the people who joined or become teachers quit before year 5. That is a huge number. That is a huge number. Now, I'm not sure where you fall into that, or if you're thinking about that, or maybe you're past this 5 years and still feeling that way. But man, just that alone tells you how hard the profession is. But the flip side of that is good news. Usually after the 5th year, if you make it past 5, 6, 7, you're pretty much in there for the rest of your life. So what that means to you is that the first couple years are going to be a struggle. They're going to be hard. And if that's you, it is okay. But just know if you hang in there, it does get better. And by year 5, you're going to start finding that wind in your sails. By year 5, you're going to feel pretty good as being a teacher. Now, for me personally, here's my personal testimony. It took me a little bit longer. Maybe because I'm a little slower. I don't know. But it took me about 7 years to feel comfortable as a teacher. Now, I want to stress, that doesn't mean I was a good teacher. It just meant I felt comfortable being a teacher. And so in the classroom, I felt comfortable. And as around that point in time, for the first couple of years, I dreaded coming to school every day just because of the behavior issues. But by year 7, I finally started figuring some things out. Truth be told, it's probably going to take you a lot less time because you're probably smarter than I am. But just be in it for the long term. If that's really your goal, your profession, your passion, it's going to take some time, but you can get there. The other number I love how this all kind of lines up here. It goes 10,000. You ever heard the thing 10,000 hours? It takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at something, whether that's shooting hoops, if that is writing, if that is something else, a sport, whatever else. It takes about 10,000 hours to become really good at something. I did the math. If you teach, if you're year 1, 2, 3, if you make it through year 7 as teaching, that's roughly about 10,000 hours. So what that should tell you is about year 7 or 8, you're really going to get a hold on this thing. And then when you make it to that point, I'm telling you, that is when it becomes great. That's when it becomes fun. That's when you can try new things. And that's when you can take the class wherever you want to take it. You can incorporate all those fancy things they talk about, the collaboration and the wicker and the scaffolding, this and that. That is when all this really starts sinking in. So as I promised, hey, I offer this free course on classroom management. First of all, let me just tell you where to find it. It's down below in the details. Boom, go below details. There's a free link. Sign up for it. You're all good. It is yours. I call it the 20-day classroom transformation. But here's what the course is about. It's like 3 different parts to it. The first part is mindset, having the right mindset, having the right idea, knowing exactly what your expectations are, going into the classroom. That's the first part of it. There's a couple of lessons about that and videos about that. The second portion of it is preparing for the transformation. What you need to do in your classroom to get ready for that, who you need to inform, and all those things. And the big chunk of it, the big bulk, the one that takes the most effort, is the actual implementation of it, progressive discipline and everything else. So that course is yours, free. Click down below, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of value out of it.